Greetings and welcome to Project Pandora. I am Darkling and this is Ark Survival Evolved. As you can see, Project Pandora is progressing quite nicely in the background there. We've added some access to the flyer deck, or the internal flyer deck. The top flyer deck with all the large flyers is going to be worked on next. I did a little bit of thinking about that after the last video where I was just starting on it. When I said starting on it, I was doing the testing to see how well things would place. So from here we're going to work on that. So stick around and hopefully you'll learn something new. So at the end of the last video, which was recorded probably 10 minutes ago, I've had something to eat and a drink and come back, and while I was having those I was having a think about what I was going to do for the flyer deck, and I've had an idea, so we're going to get into it and see if it's going to work. Now the idea I'm thinking is I'm going to use a pillar support. I need to check to see what my mounting is like. Okay, so I've got lowered walls on the outside, so I'm going to have to adjust it ever so slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up this one by, actually no, I'm going to go one above. I'll do it, and it's gone to the wrong one. I should have gone to the top snap. Starting off to a great start today apparently. So I'm then going to drop these guys down off that to the bottom. Now I want to try and get them to snap relatively. Come on. I'm cycling snaps and it's just not cooperating. Okay, it might just have to be an overlay then. That's fine, it'll still be snapped. That looks much better. I wonder if I can do it from the other side. Okay, so it must have been the angle I was looking at it on. So as you can see, it's a box. Nothing terribly exciting. I'm going to bring that down off the front. Now I could tidy this up a little bit and make it more interesting on the inside. That may come later. First of all, I'm going to need to get up there. Now, as with a lot of builds, it's going to look funny to begin with. I think once I get some height in it, it should change how it looks. I'll add these onto the sides. As far as it goes, the walls on the inside don't really need to look pretty because I'm doing it like this. So there's a little bit of a cubby there, but that's not too much of a hassle. Actually, I think I might reduce the structure count a little bit here. I'm just going to pop that in there, which will anchor things properly. And then I'm going to lose this internal wall. Okay, I have to lose that one to put the bottom anchor in here. And then I can lose this internal wall. Okay, so let's get up the top. Now I can use this for just putting some storage in for saddles or anything. Anything when you're on the fly and you don't need to really get into it. Now I'll probably place these. I'm not sure if I'm going to do every single lot of the squares or not. I'm still a little bit undecided on that one. I'm going to place a wall on each side here, and then I'm going to place a ramp. Then ceiling on the top of each, and I try to trim the edge. And on the other side. So why am I doing this? Well, if I do a straight pillar up to the flyer deck, it's going to look very straight and kind of boring. So what I'm thinking, how high have I come? That's the question. It's 3, it's 4, it's 5. Tested before and I seem to be able to get about 7 or 8 height. So I think I need to check, see if that's going to line up. Give me some of these. It's not going to work. The alignment's going to be out. So I'm going to have to redesign that. I'm just going to have to pause the recording for a moment. I have something in real life that just popped up, so I'll come back to you in a moment. And I'm back. So that wasn't terribly important as it turned out. Okay, so the idea I was going to go with is not going to work. So the idea was I was going to try and split the pillar into 2 and maintain the shape of down here. Like I said, it's not going to work out like I'd originally planned, so I might make some adjustments on it. Unfortunate, because I think that would have looked interesting. I'm just going to pull the lot. How that is still up there, I have no idea. See, I do a lot of this where I put something up, have a look at it, see what I think, and don't like it and pull it back down. Haven't seen much of it on this build, but I do it quite a bit. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. So it might end up having to be a straight pillar upwards, which is unfortunate, because it's not really what I wanted to do. But never mind, these things happen. Side. Thankfully with S+, nothing is actually set in stone, so to speak. So what I think I might actually do in this case, shift this guy out of the way. Yank those 2 off there. Now, this is a technique that I haven't covered in any building tutorials yet. God, I can't even see it, so bright. I'm going to actually have to be able to see for this, so I'm going to rip that one out. Yeah, because my video is so bright, I need to make it easier for me to see where the edging starts. So I'm kind of placing these a little bit blind. I've got a little bit that I can see. So what I've done is I've used an overlapping technique to place tri-ceilings on a square section. Now I have been meaning to do this on a video. I've got a tower video planned, but because every time I've had time to actually record, I've been recording this. Okay, so as you can see, because of the way I've done it, I can now place those on there. Now, No, I don't like this. I have snapped them in a place that I don't like. So, thankfully, because these sit up... Oh god, the mouse is on a free-for-all. Because of the way these snap, I can actually get away with picking them up. Now what I did before is I snapped onto here. Instead, I'm going to snap snap this way. Looked right. And I can put that one back in place. Okay, so why did I make the change? Well, when I started putting in the walls, I could see that there was something going wrong with where the actual door was going to be. Because I want these to be accessible. They're probably not going to get used, except for maybe hiding the elevator to go up to the next level. So it's going to have a little bit of a gap behind. That's nothing major. And as you can see, we've got a nice structure to work with here. So the doorway is central with the middle of the base. I like the symmetry value of it. So we're going to start building in earnest here. Okay, now because of the way I'm going to be doing this, I won't be able to split it like I originally planned. I'm sure if I sat here for long enough I would actually be able to work it out. But because I'm working try on top of square, it's going to be far too problematic to actually work out to any super degree. So it's 5 high. I think I'm going to go 6. I don't like using square pillars if I can help it. Although I could have done a few... Actually, that's not a silly idea, I could have done that. Decisions. No, I think I'll go with this. I was actually thinking of one of the column designs that I used in the columns video. I could actually set it along the outside wall. So, get up here, a little bit higher. I want it high enough that I can get up there, but not high enough that the wings are coming through the ceiling, because that is really annoying. Okay, so what do I do from here? Well, first of all, I've got to work out where I had my snapping. So what I'd done is I'd snapped it on this direction. So we're now back to using square on square. So that lines me up with all the square that I had, and I'm overlapping into base by 2 tiles. Now from here I'm going to swap to triangles on the outside. Now you may recall I said that I'm going to use a method to cheat this a little bit. I'm still going to do that. It's not technically cheating, but it should eliminate how much I need in the way of tiles. I shouldn't need those just yet. So what I'll do is I'll go out to the, I believe it was two tiles? 3 tiles. I'll have to test. 3 tiles, okay, cool. Now the best part about this is it's going to have a certain degree of separation from the top, so from a distance it should have some interest to it. Now the cheap method I'm going to use is, because I'm swapping from using squares out in a straight line joined together by the triangles, instead I am going to swap to the triangle, or I have swapped to the triangles, and I'm going to join them together with squares. Now the reason I'm doing this is when I join them up to actually add the... oh, I've done this wrong. I have indeed done this wrong. This is not what I had designed. Pull it down. There's a reason why I was building it the way I was going to. Let it fall. Yeah, the reason I'm going to swap over is it means that I can use less tiles and less mucking around. I can do the slope sections I'm going to do a lot quicker and a lot less tiles. So, bit of putting up and pulling down today, I'm afraid. Terribly sorry, but I've got to make sure this is working for what the design that I'm wanting. That's fine, you can go. So I'm going to need some walls. Now I'm not a big... oh great, land, why don't you? I'm not a big fan of having flat platforms on top of things like this. Put a high, it's just going to give me one high, and that's all I need. If I stuck a flat platform on here from a distance, all you're going to see is a wafer thin section. So what I'm doing, and it's going to take a little bit of finagling, is I'm going to create a little walkway of sorts underneath. This is to give it some depth, some thickness. Now, depending on how you do it, depends on the overall look. Sometimes I want to have a wall on top of this going up and then the top layer. Doing that requires a different kind of like that enables me to build inside of this. I'm not actually going to be building inside of this, so I don't need that particular technique in play, but you would have to actually, due to the way things anchor, you can't add multiple slope connections connecting each other. So I quite like the idea of you could go up on a slope and then slope back inwards and then have a platform. If you were going to do that, you'd have to have the wall segment along there and then slope back in. This particular design, okay, I actually need that one there. Shouldn't have been there anyway. Now hopefully this, because I've had to muck around with this so much, it's not going to detract from the original thought that I'd had. Oh come on, why are you so heavy now? You fill up here, okay? I haven't got anything extra on me. I don't remember you taking that long to fly up here. Okay, so I'm going to need some more of those, and I'll take a stack of that. So you better get off. No, that's wrong. Terribly wrong. I will need to connect some of this together with the try, which is unfortunate. So I can avoid some of that. I wonder if I could swap back into... no, I'll keep the square for the outside run. So the outside run is good. Oh. Thank you. The outside run is going to go along here. the reason, well, I've already explained the reason. It uses a lot less tiles doing it in this manner. If I do tries, for every single segment I kind of have to do 2 triangles, which isn't really great when you're doing it in such a large amount. If I'm expanding like I have here, you just follow the pattern. I generally don't swap from one to the other very often unless I'm doing something like this where it's a trim that it's not actually going to be affected by build overall. Okay. What I might do is stick to having only 3 connections to the top. That way I don't have to add so many pillars in. It'll be more of a floating platform. But what I'll do is I will complete a section and then stand back and have a look at it and see how I feel about it. I may end up pulling all this down, who knows. So that's the outside layer. Now it is going to extend outwards from this another 2 tiles? Yeah, about 2 tiles. I might actually only make it 1. Doesn't need to be that huge. Although the more I overlap it on the outside, the smaller it can be on the inside. I'm not sure what my unit count is at this point. I'm guessing it's pretty high already. At some point I might have to go through and actually drop my default unit count and see if I can still place things. That looks pretty accurate there. Oh, yeah. I'm starting to get the hang of keeping some of this building going while I'm talking. Obviously I wasn't talking just then, but I was actually thinking about the fact that I've actually been able to maintain more building while I'm actually engaged in a bit of conversation. One-sided as it is. Ooh. Must be on part of the Quetzal hitbox. Okay, so one of the reasons I'm doing this is when it comes to actually filling this underside in, so it's got the slope section, this outside run is going to be what I snap it to. So I'm just going to drop down there. How big an area is it? That's 4 already. Now, I could have sworn these things used to walk backwards. So if I land one, it's going to be enough to park it, but I need to be able to get behind it. Why do you suddenly lean forward? Fine, whatever. I think I'll extend it outwards one more. I could actually do this into so it's not one whole ring all the way around. I could make it into 3 separate segments, which in itself would look really cool. I'm not sure how I feel about that pillar. To have a think about it. There's always I can always adjust it later on. Okay, so we're going to need some tries along here, and then I'll drop down and fill in the blanks below. So if you are going to offer any criticism on the videos, obviously at this point of recording I haven't posted anything, so I don't know if anybody likes or dislikes any aspects of this build, but if you do have any comments, if you don't like something, don't just post "I don't like it", post why you don't like it. Do you prefer something slightly different? I'm not saying I'm going to change anything because you don't like it, but I do like to understand why people do and don't like certain things. Can I just... okay. Yeah, if I know why somebody doesn't like something, it makes a lot more sense. Oh, great. That one? Yep. Can't say I've had that one happen before. And here is the reason why I wanted to do it like I did as well. Should be able to just go through and quite easily, not perfectly. And like I said, I might need to make some adjustments to the pillar below just to make it look a little bit more in line with the rest of the project. Not that it's really that different from what I've got. Ooh, what did you do? Must have stood on the wing. I would like some more ramps, please. As you can see, I could actually do this without having that piece in place. Come on. But it's nice to be able to eliminate some of the slope tries. I don't know where that one actually ended up. I wasn't looking in the right direction. Okay, that one was that one. I think it was that one. Okay, let's have a look at this from the outside. We should now have a little bit of something to get. Okay, that doesn't look so bad. I feel like I can adjust the tower support a little bit. Now, if I'd actually made that a little bit wider, I could have actually done the same kind of expansion I did with the inverted tower. But I didn't do that, so obviously I can't use that method. But I think this is going to work. I might just need to do a little bit of blending. Let's just get under here. Okay, there's a few things I could potentially do. What I'll do is I'll get it constructed and then I can make adjustments. So I'm going to be putting a rail around the top of these. Let's give us a time of day. Four above that, so 6 in total. It's not the one I wanted. quick little test. See, one of the things I've got to be careful of is what creatures I bring up here. Are they going to be able to get out? Or run off the edge? Now, you can see if I'm running along here, you won't actually step over the edge, but if I stick a torch on the side, you'll stand on the torch and then leap over. Believe me, I've done it. Oh, can I see from the outside? No, I can't. Hop off, and I'm not embedded in the ceiling, that's always nice. Okay, I didn't need to pick up the feces, thank you very much. I can fit a Kitzel through there. Okay, I can see a foot, but mostly just his head. Okay, I quite like that, I think that looks pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to live with that. I might just have to, like I said, make some adjustments to that column just to make it look a little less annoying to me. Mostly because I've got, I say high standards. I don't like certain square looking objects. I like to have a little bit of shape. So I think, why are you looking? Aren't you allied looking disabled? Yeah, you are. What? Oh, it must mean because I was looking in that direction. So, I need to be sure that that is lined up over there. Oh, that looks pretty good. Doesn't happen often, but it looks like it's aligned quite nicely. Unfortunately, this is a little bit too tall for me to just stand on the ground and just be able to fill in from below. It would be nice to actually be able to do it from below, just so I don't have to worry about these things accidentally snapping into the roof. Glad I added the extra tries into the mix. I will probably end up using a good portion of them on this. Now, can I get up here? Actually, on the inside? I don't think I will slope it. I had planned to stick a slope on the inside as well, but I reckon I should actually keep that square. Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot less trouble too. So I just put a line of walls along. Yeah, I think that's going to be the way it's going to go. Now what I should be doing is extending this. Whoa. Extending this before I extend the top one. That should just save me some hassles as I go further along. Now where do I change to? It's right there, awesome. Nice to actually get some speed building done. My builder's become a bit of a boxer while he's doing this. Oop! Well, at least I fell on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to need another 2 on the end there. That should be enough to get into there. Now, what I could do, if you were doing a build similar to this where you've got a floating section like this, one of the things that you could potentially do, depending on what your what your overall design is going to be, is you could make this thicker. I don't have any more tries on me anyway. You can make it thicker and actually put rooms in here. That would look really cool. How much wider is this bottom part? It's just one section, isn't it? Just fill this part in. Now if I hadn't done such a massive base already, I would actually put the rooms in here, but that's a lot of rooms to be adding when I really have no idea what else I'd be sticking in them. I do a lot of vanity builds with spaces like that, where if I end up making a room a specific design or shape, quite often I will fill in any of the empty space with something. Depends on how much empty space there is. I've done a few builds where I've made space to put a room in, and then when I've gone to stick the project in, it's not actually been big enough for what I wanted, so you just kind of have to play it by ear. Okay, so can you carry a couple more stacks? Take all these off me. As you can tell, I haven't fixed the experience on this particular save game. This was actually set up for my other half. When she was first learning to play, I upped the experience in that so that she could play the game and learn it without having to spend weeks and weeks and weeks playing it. It's not really her sort of game, but she had to go because I'm so into it. I quite like the effect that's giving, actually. From this angle I quite like the shape of that column, so maybe it's just on the inside I'll have to pretty it up. It's kind of growing on me. I should be able to actually land on the top now and just drop down. Now I want to hop on that bottom one, so if I need to get on the Quetzal again, I'll take one stack of those, half stack of those. So please don't fall off the base. Great. Now the trouble with building like this, where you're speed building, that's the problem. Is sometimes you'll place and it doesn't place, and then you go to stand on the tile that should have been placed. So that's a good example. So it turns out the foundation work down here was actually perfect for the size of the base that I was building above. So that is ideal, and I will be able to section in the water pen without too much hassle. So I'll have to get up there again. Oh man, I really like how that level's looking. Now I'm going to cheat fly up there because I don't have time to muck around. Okay, now I needed another section there to make it even, if I recall correctly. Does that line up? It doesn't. I must have already extended it out. That doesn't feel right to me. That feels right. Oh no, when I get to the end, and it just doesn't line up and I have to backtrack. Okay. There's part of me that thinks I should actually... I'm going to double check it. I've got this sneaking suspicion and I may need to backtrack if I don't check it. That does look pretty good. What I might do... While I wait, after that... Yeah, that's definitely correct. Just going to make it easier on my way around. just have some reference points. I can remove them afterwards. I really like this carrier quets. I've built it a few times now and the design of it works really well. Do you have a headache, T-Rex? Because you may end up with a stone through your head. Oh. Awesome, okay. Now I've got some reference points, this should be a lot easier. Should being the operative word. Now I'm getting an unbroken section. This is starting to look a lot more interesting. Oh, I leaned forward again. I must be too close to the edge and that's triggering it to do the tilting. Okay, it's seesawing at the moment. So let's expand this again. This isn't going to get finished in this video. Looking at the time, we're about halfway through, a little bit over halfway through. The first couple of minutes I actually forgot to set the stopwatch. I've really got to get into the habit of setting the stopwatch off so these videos don't go on too long. I'm trying to keep them at the hour on the outside. There's a couple that I've cut a little bit shorter when my other half turned up home or other things occur that I need to sort. And then a few other times I've ended up making them much longer because I've just lost track of time. Oops. I'm actually looking forward to getting the next tutorial video done. I'm hoping that there might be small glimpses of this build. I don't want it completely visible because I don't want to give away how it looks until it's actually completed. Now I'm actually thinking, I'm not sure if I actually mentioned it, I'm thinking of getting some people on when I do the tour of how it looks. Get a few of my building friends or just some of the streamers I know to come on and have a nosy around with us. I'll record the session of exploring. Unlike my other builds, this isn't going to have any secret passages or anything of the likes. I normally have secret rooms and whatnot. This, because of the size of this, I'm trying to keep it relatively simple. I do like sticking things like that in, but that's generally stuff that's built after the move-in period. So if you recall what I was saying about I get a build to move-in quality, and from there I will move in, live in the build for a little while, see what I do and don't like, and then adjust accordingly. Secret rooms and passages and whatnot, that generally gets added after that move-in quality period. Earth? Why'd you snap down there? Oh, why did I press that button? This is a good question. Okay, can I... Fine, I'll just fly up there. Now I'm pretty sure I haven't actually used cheats so far to actually do the building. I've gotten myself back into position to build a few times, but I don't think I've actually used Flier or anything to actually do the construction itself. That's actually because on the tutorials that's how I build. I'm trying to keep them as short as possible because tutorial videos shouldn't be too long if I can help it. Even though I'm building scratch builds, like there's no cutting or anything like that. But one of the guys that watches a lot of my vids, I chat to a lot, Damon Whalen. I've mentioned him a few times before. Something he'd said about what was it I was building? can't think of what it was. I built something and he mentioned it was really good seeing me build something without using cheats to get around. Oh, it was the Wyvern build, the Wyvern trap, that's what it was. And seeing the methods I actually used to get into tricky places and just generally get around the build while I'm constructing. And when I started this, I had to think about that and thought, well, that does make sense, because I probably could have shaved maybe an hour or two off this build by using the cheat fly. I don't really have any doubt of that. Some of the building around the outside where I had to build scaffolding, I wouldn't have had to build. I could have just used the fly and gotten around it really quick. So you could probably shave even more than that off. Okay, where is the click source? Closer this way. So if you haven't heard of Damon Whalen, do check him out. He's a Twitch streamer. Oh, he streams on 3 different platforms, but he does Twitch, does a bit of YouTube. His streams usually end up as videos, but I think he's cutting back on that and going to be doing the videos separately, because he's starting to get a few more viewers and it's a little bit more problematic for him. But he plays Ark on console. He does have a PC version, so we may eventually see him in some more, maybe possibly see him in some of the videos later on. He's one of the people I will consider, depending on scheduling, whether or not I can get him as one of the people to tour the base. But because of the time zones, his time zone's much different than mine. I was actually on stream with him last week. Must have been just under a week ago. We did a stream from the New Terra Nova Aberration server, and we had a lot of fun. Had a look around the bases, see what people have been up to. Because since I've been doing this video, I haven't actually been on my regular servers, mostly because the amount of time involved in this kind of build, while it's not as involved as some of the builds I've done. Oh, it's a bit heavy. I need to drop some weight. Come on. A little bit lighter, a little bit more. Yeah, because of the time involved in playing Ark and whatnot, I'm doing my best not to let myself burn out, because it's really easy to burn out on Ark. You play it a lot, you kind of get sick of the same old grind all the time. Like when I've been doing a lot of building, from time to time I'll stop and have a few days of just mucking around. That's one of the reasons why I really enjoyed playing with some of the guys I've played with in the past. Because when I got sick of building, we'd go out and just shoot stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna cheat my way up here. Now, what I would have done on a server if I was just doing that one little bit there is I would have actually used just a ramp and then picked the ramp up when I got up here. But I didn't, because I don't have any ramps on me. When I'm server building, I generally keep a small stack of ramps, foundation and a wall, depending on where I am. Foundation's not so important, but if I'm in a build, I will place down a wall, I'll place down a ramp against it, and then because it snaps in place, you can then extend the ramp upwards as many tiles as you need to. It's a great way to access things that are in really annoying places. Usually lighting for me, but since the light setter gun was made, that's gotten a lot easier. Oh man, if you've only just started playing Ark, at least in the last 6 months, possibly a year, there's a few things that you've missed out on that were real major frustrations. The S Plus triangles, when they got fixed, because they weren't as good as they are now, and it's great that they got fixed. When they did fix them, when I say they, when he fixed them, Orion's son, it meant all the triangles that were already existing were now in funny places, so you had to go through and fix those. But one of the other things that used to go wrong was lights. If you placed them on the underside of a ceiling, when you had an update, quite often those lights would all flip. So instead of being on the bottom of a ceiling, they'd be on top of the ceiling. So every time we had an S Plus update, we'd have to go through and move our lights. I tell you what, that was frustrating as. It doesn't happen very often, if at all these days. I'm pretty sure the bug that was causing it was completely removed. I have heard of somebody having it happen since, but I'm pretty sure that was just a localized incident, probably from an old save or something like that. You get that a lot where people haven't loaded a world in a while, have found something that isn't what it used to be, and it turns out it's just been something that's been updated since. So closer this way. Ooh. I'm actually wondering if I should do a video on bug reporting. What you should do before you actually report a bug. At least specifically with S Plus, because I know it better than any other mod. And I spend a lot of time in the S Plus forums. You tend to see the same problems popping up all the time. And quite a lot of the time it's just people have a bug, say hatchery is broken, and that's all they'll give you. And I really feel for Orion's son on times like that, with the people who don't actually give any information, and then they get really annoyed and huffy over the fact that nobody's helping them. It's like, well, you gotta help yourself before anybody else is gonna help you. If you don't give them any information, they're not really gonna go out of their way to help you. So most of what I do on the S Plus forums is usually just drilling in more questions like, were you on a single player, were you on a server, what have you done to test it, how do you know it's S Plus that's causing the problem. There's been quite a few problems I've seen where people have blamed S Plus, and it's like, well, have you tested vanilla items? Did you go over and spawn some vanilla items in single player, and they eventually go and do it? Oh, yeah, it's doing it in vanilla. It's like, well, in that case, it's not S Plus at fault, it's Ark itself, and do a verification of your game files. And that is my go-to. If you ever have a bug with what you think is S Plus or one of the other mods, first thing you do, delete your mods. Don't go and delete, unsubscribe and resubscribe. Physically go into the folder where the mods are stored and delete the folder. Well, delete all the folders within the mod folder, not the mod folder itself. I'm sure Ark wouldn't like you if you do that. But that will cause your computer to download all the mods again. See, the trouble is, the way the Steam update works, it's a bit funny. It's not ideal. So quite a lot of the time it'll find an error and fix it, but sometimes it doesn't check deep enough. Have I really not got enough triangles on me? That's a bummer. Oh, I can't do that side either because I need more triangles. So yeah, sometimes it doesn't detect that there has been a problem. So when it goes to do a verification or whatnot, it doesn't see anything, and as far as it's concerned, there's nothing wrong. But if you delete the folder, it will delete any corrupted files as well, and then when you re-download it, obviously you're not going to have that problem again. So you delete the mods, re-download them, and then run a verification of your game files. That will remove most things that are actually a problem. So you go across to your single player, spawn things, and test them. You've got to test things. If you want someone to fix something for you, test it. I'm actually thinking I might stick those pillars on each of the corners. From this angle, it actually looks really quite funky. Yeah, test as much as you can. Don't expect someone else to do it for you. Oops, that's what I want. The other thing I see a lot in the forums is people that say that the S Plus item collector or sheep herder or something doesn't collect materials like it should. And so many people play this game with stacking mods. Now, I'm not actually a fan of stacking mods. And I'll tell you why. Stacking mods, as good as they are, you know, you can hold that much more. I don't like the fact that it makes it too easy like that. Like, there's certain things that aren't meant to be able to be stacked. Honey, prime meat. You know, would I like them to be stacked? Sure. But they're not stackable. They're not stackable for a reason, because they're meant to be things that are more difficult to work with. And when you start dealing with large stacks of things, you got more chance of things going wrong. I mean, this is just my take on it. But one of the things that stacking mods do is, because they adjust the actual item itself, sometimes the adjustment means that other mods don't detect that it's actually what it should be. So say it adjusted cementing paste so that it can stack into stacks of 10,000, for example. Your item collector, when it starts trying to pick stuff up, because all the cementing paste in your world has been changed to the stacking mod cementing paste, the item collector would go and try and find anything on the ground every 60 seconds or whatever it's set to at the moment, and it wouldn't recognize it. So of course it won't pick it up. And you see it quite a lot where people say, oh, the Bacillo doesn't, the collector doesn't pull the oil off Bacillos. Like, well, yeah, it does. Have you checked with it in vanilla? Not vanilla, without any other mods. That's the other thing you got to do, is if you're having problems with what you think is a mod problem, save your game, save your backup, like go into your backup folder and copy the current saves. Oh, I didn't get any more squares. Oh, that's a bugger. Those. Yeah, go into your single player, backup, or after backing up your save, and then, oh, I can't actually, okay, what I'm going to do, I don't want to have to go make a trip back just yet. There's a bit of lag there. Be a server save, it must be about that time. And I'm just going to connect over, just so I can keep placing some of these tries. Yeah, so you'd back up your save games and then load up your single player world without any other mod installed. The reason you back it up is once you load up a game without a mod installed, anything from that mod will be removed. So if you have problems with a mod and you think, say for example it is S+, remove all the other mods and then test it on your single player. See if whatever's broken is still broken. If it works, then chances are one of the other mods was doing something weird and preventing it. Now if you've reinstalled all your mods and run a verification, test it against obviously the vanilla counterparts. And that's the easiest thing you can possibly do when you're doing this. I mean, bug reports, if it's a really annoying bug, it's going to take a while to find what the cause is anyway. So while you're waiting for a fix, you obviously can't play your game, so you should be testing to see what you can do. I had somebody recently who had a problem with their save game, and unfortunately their save game was corrupted, which is always really upsetting for people. This person took it really well, but what I ended up getting them to do is, like, their save, they thought the S Plus was at fault, and while it kind of was, it wasn't actually S Plus specifically. When they loaded up a new world with a fresh save, it worked perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with it. Everything was working as it should. But it turned out the save game was actually corrupt, or at least something within the world was, and it happened to be S Plus content. So I got them to go through their mod folder and slowly delete certain sections of it and try load and see what it is that's corrupted. And it turned out that everything but their foundations and storage was stuffed. So they lost a lot, but they managed to keep a lot of their gear and their eggs and whatnot. So at least in that respect they managed to come out of it okay. But I've actually seen a few corrupt save game lately, so something has been updated perhaps in the core game that's caused a couple of hiccups here and there with for people. If you play this game a lot, I recommend that you learn how to do manual backups. So every so often, take a copy of your save game and put it in another folder. Looks pretty good. And that way, if anything goes wrong, you can roll back to the right save. Lots of people say, but Ark already does that, or their server host already does that. Don't rely on them. Because if the save game that they're copying has been corrupted, then you're not going to get anywhere. Whereas if you've done sequential backups every so often for a time period, you've got more to go back on than anything that they potentially have. Okay, so as far as it goes, we are out of time for today's video. Things are looking good. We've got the platform in place, and the more I'm looking at it, the more I like that column. I didn't like it at first, but now I've actually got some background behind it. I think it's looking pretty cool. I'll have to still have a play with where else I'm going to put columns, but so far I'm quite happy with it. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you hit the thumbs up, give me a like, it does help out. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have time, join our Discord. The link is in the description below. There's a section called Tithings, and that is where you can post your own screenshots of things that you've been building. People usually give a shout out to if you've come up with something interesting. So take care and enjoy your building.